Thanks everyone. I'm very well. I'm delighted to be here today and discuss and share with you what we've been doing in Coventry at Positive Youth Foundation. I'm just going to see if we can start the slides. I was going to start off with quick videos just so you kind of get a flavour of what we're doing.
Exercise makes me feel stronger and more beautiful and healthier.
Love exercise because it makes me feel powerful.
It's hard to start, but the most amazing feelings afterward.
Exercise makes me feel refreshed.
After working out, I just feel lighter physically and mentally.
I like exercise because it keeps my body healthy.
Physical activities is good in lockdown.
Physical activity is very important to me as it keeps me grounded and it's a great release for stress, especially during these difficult times.
One work together better than sit alone.
Being active and exercising is all about making the mind and the body feel fantastic.
Physical activity is important because it gets your blood pumping, it sends oxygen to your brain, making you feel calm and relaxed.
Worst workout is the one I haven't done. Get involved.
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 Thought it might be nice to kind of start my presentation with just a bit of kind of just a nice kind of insight into like how young people, part of our organization, have been kind of responding to what physical activity means to them in their lives, and it's a lot around kind of what I wanted to talk about today is like what is it that sport and physical activity is doing for young people, especially those living in low socioeconomic areas. So myself, I'm Cormac, Whelan. I've got about 15 years of experience working both in the UK, Ireland, India, with deprived low socioeconomic communities, and using sport as one of the main tools to empower young people and the communities that they live in to achieve what they want to achieve in their lives or in their sporting ambitions. And I think in terms of what our ethos is with Positive Youth Foundation, it's very much about kind of ensuring that we're trying to support young people to live full and positive lives. If you wanted to go to the next slide, please. Oh, I can do that myself, can't I? Yeah. So yeah, the vision, Positive Youth Foundation's vision is to support young people to achieve their full potential. With this, it's about taking them beyond that engagement. So it's very much about kind of using sport as that tool to support them towards positive and sustained healthy lifestyles. And part of our values is really at the core of it is to have young people at the center of everything that we do. So I'm really glad to hear, big organizations such as Street Games and Sport England talking about like how youth voice is key to what they design and how they support programs across the country, because it is, and it's in terms of being able to utilize young people's voice to change or to design strategy and policy at an organizational level, and then even up to kind of a regional or national level in terms of kind of supporting communities. If we're not continually looking back and making sure that what we're designing and how we're implementing it is actually doing what was said young people want in the first place, I don't really feel like we're doing our jobs at all. We've got a number of strands within Positive Youth Foundation that address different agendas, such as employability, young people that are on the cusp of education. We also support newly arrived young people, refugees and asylum seekers who are new to the country. Those young people who are at risk or already entrenched in criminal exploitation. Support young people who are just living in challenging circumstances, such as living within low socioeconomic communities and areas, to kind of just reduce as much barriers as possible so that they can achieve a full, healthy life. And we also support young people into creative programs as well. But if we're to focus more towards how we're supporting reducing health inequalities, I guess I'm hoping that a lot of you are familiar with the Marmot principles, and so, which was just over 10 years ago. So Michael Marmot published his influential report on Fair Society, Healthy Lives, which examines health inequalities in England and the social determinants such as education and employment, and how these kind of affect young people or people's health, but in our case, young people. Coventry, as a local authority, decided to adopt many of these recommendations, but the focus on equality remains like as strong as ever 10 years on. And Positive Youth Foundation play a key role supporting the outcomes as a city for children and young people. We've taken on an active part in the strategic planning through our Strand Healthy Futures and the programs within it, which is consistently being recognised as good examples of how open access services for young people can support those in greatest need. What Marmot called progressive universalism. Sorry, apologies. So with that, I guess one of the key, as I mentioned before, one of the key aspects that we do is that we always take a youth-centered approach to how we support young people to become confident and healthy individuals. I've taken this model from Sport for Development framework, which I think sits really well in terms of how we approach health inequalities and the determinants around it, and really ensure that it's centered around the young person. So I'm going to go through some case studies with you around kind of how we've been approaching this towards employability and education, towards social community and cohesion, and around individual development. And I guess today I just really wanted to kind of share some of the stories and some of like the kind of more personal journeys that young people have been taking, and how sport has played, or physical activity has been quite central to all of these, even though the end product has not been about the sport itself or the physical activity itself. I believe this video, yeah.
I'm Laquan. I'm from London, and this is my story. My life was going backwards. United. We grew up in a place, the same old dramas, the same old faces, same old routine. You don't choose it, it chooses you. You're on the wrong side of the fence, looking in, and life just passes you by. But I wanted more. Trust me, it wasn't for lack of trying. Every time I gave it my best shot, but opportunities just seemed to vanish into thin air. I wasn't expecting anything that day in the youth club. But there it was, something different. A chance to change direction. And I took it. It wasn't easy, it had ups and downs, but suddenly I could see a new path, and I was the one in control. Did I expect to get a new career and qualifications? No way. But you know what? When you're motivated, determined, and someone gives you a chance, life just goes in the right direction. I'm Laquan, I'm from London, and snow camp was my switch 180 moment. Young people need the opportunities Snow Camp provides, and with your support, many more young lives can be turned around. If you can, please please support the campaign.
Thanks. Yeah, so the Snow Camp program is a charity that we've partnered up with for a number of years. And although that was a story of Laquan from London, you know, it's not unique to the fact that it's something that we've seen numerous times within our work in Coventry, and it's where it's an opportunity where the relationships have been existing within the youth clubs, and we're listening to young people about like kind of what they would like to achieve, or the fact that they don't have a lot of ambitions within you know their future. And when you're struggling, when we got young people in your program struggling to be motivated to attend school, to consider employment or what type of employment, and they're facing a lot of barriers about like how we talked a lot about mental health with the pandemic, and I think that's just only exacerbated what's been happening, because we've known for a long time that employability is not just down to the fact of having the skills, but it's often about having the mental capacity to prepare yourself for interview, and to be able to be in a room full of other people, and to be able to kind of like interact with them on a social level. I mean, these are the soft skills that, you know, you're able to kind of enhance and develop through sports. What's really good about an example of the snow camp is that you know, it's a unique opportunity. There's an awful lot of times where young people have a preconception of what they're good and what they're bad at, and this has often held them back over time about like how they perceive themselves going forward in the future. So to be able to use opportunities, I know that Rich, someone from the audience mentioned earlier on about opportunities not being presented to young people or people in low socioeconomic areas, as in it's not being sold as something for them. And I think that's really important with things like this, with unique opportunities like a snow sports, where it can be seen as an elite or affluent type of sport to be involved in, and for young people to be given this opportunity to kind of take on something that they have no idea if they'd be good at it. They're not. It's something that's been so unique and interesting to them that it gives them kind of ambition and motivation to kind of take it on. Some of the success stories from ourselves in Coventry with this is that we've had 3 young people we've had over 100 young people go to the journey, but we've had 3 young people go from a participant and over a 1-year journey or a 2-year journey coming out as an apprentice with ourselves and Snow Camp as a joint initiative. But I think what's really kind of being clear with that is that throughout the whole time, the sport itself has been something that they've just enjoyed. They've kind of taken it on board as the self-development side of it, and it's their ambitions going forward in life are much more beyond the sport. If I was just to bring you on to, I don't have any videos for this, and this is one I'll just kind of talk you through. And this is around that self-development, individual self-development. And I wanted to kind of talk to you today about Mustafa. Mustafa came from Syria. He arrived in the UK in 2016 after being forcibly displaced from his home in Syria because of the war. So arriving to Coventry as a refugee with minimal English and with a number of years out of education because he had to, because of family circumstances, whereas his father was the main earner of employment or finances back at home, he became an invalid through loss of limbs through the war, and Mustafa, as well as some of his other siblings, had to stop going to school so that he could start earning money for the family in Lebanon, where they were kind of based for a couple of years as a kind of interim spot before they were resettled in the UK. So with a huge gap, he came to the UK, and we have, our supportive programs for integration at Positive Youth Foundation called Involved. And Mustafa's first ambition was to learn English, get into school, and get himself back on that employment, or get himself kind of back on track to where he wants to be in the future. So, you know, by getting to understand his ambitions and motivations, we worked with Mustafa and his brother, to the point where, you know, we said, well, we've got a sports qualification. He'd already kind of said that he's into football, so we used a sports leaders qualification to start getting him some qualifications and improve his English. He then went on to set up his own football team, which has now become a platform for newly arrived young people to come down. We've had numerous young people come and get involved in this community football session. That they've arrived within 1 week of arriving in the city. They've actually joined a football session before even being registered to their first school. So it's like, from his ambitions of what he'd like to do, it's supported more and more young people, like far and beyond over the past 2 or 3 years. He's actually gone on and he gained a lot of qualifications through this experience, and by using kind of sport as his main kind of platform to increase his confidence, his English, his qualifications, he's now ended up, I think he's finishing probably this month, his university degree in engineering at Coventry University. And all of this as like, you know, he used his qualifications, he used his experience as his reference to kind of get into university in the first place. And he, you know, anytime you talk to him, the reflection of like how much kind of just starting out with having that kind of social scene and having that platform to kind of use sports to integrate into his new home, was a huge tool, with never the ambition of kind of, you know, wanting to be a footballer or anything like that. I've got, I'm not sure Yvonne's what up there. My last one then is around community, social and community cohesion. So if we have time, I can play this video. I'm not sure if we do.
We probably got 60 seconds.
Okay, well then we'll skip the video.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, apologies about that. Yeah, thank you. I guess just to kind of add on a little bit more. So I just wanted to kind of sum up there that like all of our projects have been based around kind of utilizing sport for the self-development of young people. What the slide up now is something that we've just started, is the Go Falls Hill pilot, which is in an area of high deprivation, where 26% of young people aged 10, 11 are obese. 50% of young people are living in poverty, and these have only been enhanced through COVID. What we're trying to aim is to take this young person centered approach, and if we're to focus on the enabling impact, which is the grey areas, it's been talked about in Plentiful, and I'm really glad to hear it as well through Street Games and Sport England, that it is about those you know, invisible warriors, or also distributed leadership. I think it's a huge aspect to understanding your community about who's doing the important work already. One of the big aspects that we're trying to enable as part of our work is that one community does not mean one solution. That there's many people already out there doing a lot of the work that we just need to enhance. So, and a lot of the time it's about supporting those who are already doing the work, and instead of trying to create one kind of answer to a diverse community, because a lot of the communities that we're all working in have a number of different kind of ethnic backgrounds, social backgrounds, you know, what they see as something that they'd be interested in getting involved in when it comes to sport and physical activity. As I've highlighted with each individual young person that we approached and each case study that I could tell you about, we've got a different solution for every young person that we're supporting. So to finish up, in essence, our philosophy is to invest in the relationships, not the sport, as it's really about kind of, especially when it comes to sustainability, supporting those who are invested in, you know, the journey for the individual or for their community.